In the video game reviewing system, the opinions of Dog Dad Studios are represented by two separately but equally important groups, myself and my dog. These are their viewpoints. Howdy folks and welcome. I hope this finds you well. Today, I'll be discussing the top 100-ish villains in video game history. Now, this is completely subjective and my opinion, and I know that you have an opinion of your own, which I'd love to hear down below in the comments. I think that any top 10 or top 100 list comes from the heart and your experiences. If you grew up in the 90s, I'm sure Bowser was the ultimate villain. Or maybe in the 80s, it was the Pac-Man thing.
Mr. Arcade, I need help. My husband won't come home.
Pac-Man, I can help.
Hell, the 2000s video games hated scientists for some reason, and they were the villain in almost everything.
Rather beautiful, aren't they? They're products of the Sigma technology, the perfect blending of two separate animals. Far superior to anything you'd find in nature.
Anyways, there are so many amazing characters to delve into, so let's get started.
My dear, I'm afraid you've got it all wrong.
Number 100 is King DDD. Now, I don't really think of DDD as a villain, yet he is a very greedy and selfish ruler, which most villains are. I don't know. I don't like King DDD because in the modded Smash Bros. We used to play in college, he was unstoppable. Number 99. Another kind of king is Vlad Dracula from Castlevania. Known as Matthias Kronkvist to his old friends from like the 10th century, Vlad is an amazing villain and arch-rival of the Belmont family.
Dracula, die now and leave this world. You'll never belong here.
Oh, but this world invited me.
Originally human, Matthias fell into a deep depression after his first wife died. Now, a lot of these villains would have benefited from just going to see a therapist, but what Vlad does is actually take a Crimson Stone, a stone of immense power, and create an army of the dead, and not a fun one. Don't worry too much though, cause Dracula gets his ass handed to him by the Belmonts for at least 1,000 years. And coming in at number 98, RuneScape's 99s. Should have thought of the ordering of that first. Now, if you ever played RuneScape back in the day or play it now, you know that it is a grind. And I think it was more of a grind back then when I was little, cause I didn't really look up stuff. I just picked flax in a field for days on end.
Anyway, apparently I have to get back to work. This is bullshit.
Why I put RuneScape's 99s as a villain is that they can be villainous. They take up your time. You have to, I've done more research about how to get to 99 construction than I think I've done in most games. Think about this. You have to play one minigame, just one, for more than 250 hours. I don't know any boss in a video game that you need to dedicate that much time to. Number 97, Jack Baker. I loved RE7 when it first came out. Not only was the switch into the first person a game changer for the franchise, it spurred so many more games to do the same. It also was horrifying now that you were really immersed in the action and the Bakers' lives.
Eat it. It's good.
Dumb son bitch wasn't no good if it hit him.
Yes.
Not again. Not the way, Marguerite. Hit boy's got to eat. He got to have his supper. Come here, boy. Let's do this. Come on.
Jack and his family sadly have been infected with a horrible virus that has taken control of them. Even though we can feel sympathy for that, it doesn't help that Jack is determined to hunt you down for most of the game. Jack will do this with a vigor so rampant that I still remember how my heart felt while running away from the first dinner. Plus, the voice actor for Jack is fantastic. He is a full villainous win in my book.
You wasted your time.
Number 96. Clunk, Ratchet and Clank. Clunk is the evil counterpart to Clank and was made by Dr. Nefarious. Yes, Dr. Nefarious. Clunk is actually pretty darn good at its job and really does infiltrate Ratchet and Clank's sphere, I guess.
I have learned there is a difference between right and wrong. That's true. But it's not as black and white as you seem to think. You can do the wrong things for the right reasons.
He even might be smarter than his creator, which is not saying something. Number 95. Manus, the Father of the Abyss. I know what you're saying. A gigantic demonic essence god that lives in the darkness of a proverbial other universe, shattered universe. I don't know. Dark Souls lore is wild. Is number 95? Yeah. This guy is literally a resurrected god. And when you try to defeat him in the Dark Souls DLC, it is kind of wild how you get to him. You see all this humanity floating in the darkness. It's super scary. And then the boss himself is horrifying. Number 94. Cain. No, not that Cain. Cain is the leader of the Brotherhood of Nod in the Command and Conquer series, or one of the series. Jesus Christ, that franchise story is oddly complicated. Cain is a charismatic leader who has the propensity for killing a lot of people. Like, how the hell was this game rated T back in the day? He just executed that guy.
A full frontal attack with your strongest forces should render their military center of operation.
Yes. Power shifts more quickly than some people think. I am Cain.
Anyways, Cain is a bit of a mystery since it appears that he doesn't age at all. Like, this guy was an advisor in the Soviet army, and he's still around in 2030? Something doesn't add up. Cain has a ton of evil plans for Earth and legitimately claims to be the Messiah. Yeah, no.
Our little demonstration has roused the beast.
Number 93. The Enclave. Fallout.
It's almost ready. Humanity's salvation is almost at hand, and the United States of America will be the progenitor of that rebirth.
The Enclave are awesome, and maybe you're wondering why they're so up high on the list. Well, I will say one thing. We beat the ever-living crap out of the Enclave in almost every iteration of a Fallout game. I mean, in Fallout 2, we blow up their oil rig with their president. In Fallout 3, we blow up Raven Rock. I mean, the Enclave, as for scary and menacing as their structural government is and how they impose it on the wasteland, they're not that bad.
The President of the United fucking States of America. Who do you think I was talking about? Who is it? What? I should kick your fucking ass. Who is this?
I mean, they're horrible people. That's why they're on the villain list, but they're not bad to deal with, especially when you have 9 perception, 9 agility, and 9 luck. If you know, you know. Coming in at number 92 to the chagrin of President Eden is Hogar from World of Warcraft. I know what you're thinking. What? He doesn't even have any lines that are in the base game. Hogar for me is a great villain because, again, subjectively, he was one of the big bosses that I had to pass when I was like 8 or 9 playing World of Warcraft, right? You had to group, you had to level. I mean, you couldn't defeat him without a couple of green items, and then the quest reward was so worth it that, I mean, you had to do this quest as an Alliance human. After defeating Hogar, any player will feel a sense of accomplishment going into Westfall.
You can just hang outside in the sun all day tossing a ball around, or you can sit at your computer and do something that matters.
Number 91, the plants from Plants vs. Zombies. Now, zombies can come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, zambonis, and I really enjoyed how in Plants vs. Zombies, you had to really look at what the zombies were doing or what specialty the zombie was. These villainous little brain eaters want nothing more to do than to rid your garden of plants and eat your brains. I really like zombies as a villainous character, even though there's no, like, hive mind, I guess, in Dead Island 2 there might be, or there is, but yeah, you get the point. They're zombies. They're cool. They're villainous. Number 90. The tree stump in Zumbinis? Yeah, you know, this guy can go himself. If you don't know what Zumbinis is, it was like an old computer game that was on a lot of Macs back in like the early 2000s. It's like a puzzle game for kids, yet you can lose all of your Zumbinis and fail the run. One of the places that I failed most of my runs was this guy.
And so our brave travelers continue on through this dusty wasteland until they meet Arno, the almost omnivorous, one very hungry pizza troll.
You have to decide how to make a pizza for them, and yeah, it's process of elimination that I can do as a 30-year-old. Back then, it was tough, and I really don't like this guy still. Coming in at number 89, Sea Consciousness, the Stalker franchise.
Hello, Starlight. I see you have many questions for me. Well, ask them, and then we can decide what to do with you.
If you're a fan of my channel, you know that I'm in love with the Stalker series. There's just something so cool about the world of the Zone. Sea Consciousness is one of the main villains, you could say, in the series, and I really like the concept of them because it is the amalgamation of human minds. And of course, the science experiment goes completely awry. Not only does Sea Consciousness brainwash unsuspecting people, but it also can just teleport the Monolith soldiers that they have under their control. It's kind of wild. You should see the secret bunker underneath the CNPP where they first were. I mean, come on. This place is like a labyrinth, and Sea Consciousness knows they are kind of like the bad guy. Well, actually, no, they don't. They think they're saving humanity, which is even worse. Number 88, the car AI in Euro Truck Simulator 2. Now, if you've ever done a long-haul trip around Europe in Euro Truck Simulator 2, like I did a couple of months back with my friend Elliot, you know that the AI sometimes just doesn't know how to drive. I know the simulator game is supposed to calm you down, but most of the time my heart rate just goes off. Number 87, and yeah, this is, I guess, worse than AI-driven cars in Euro Truck Simulator 2. Number 87 is Slaanesh. Slaanesh is known as the Dark Prince and is all around messed up.
I shall embrace you all. Let us begin.
Number 86. Any difficult golf hole and golf it, or golf with your friends. Now, I know, again, villain, but we have to keep this list a little bit fresh. I don't know about you, but playing mini golf, I do love it. But when you miss that one shot, ooh, I do not like that.
Son of a bitch, Paul, why didn't you just go home?
Number 85. Coach Oleander, Psychonauts. I love Coach Oleander, even if he is pretty messed up from his childhood. Oleander was a great mix of childhood villain and oddly poignant commentary on the childhood fears of abandonment and father and son relationships. Plus, have you seen his training course? This is for children, for goodness sake.
What kind of obstacle course is this? That kid just got killed.
A mental obstacle course, you bleeding heart.
Number 84. Gargarensis, Age of Mythology. I enjoyed Gargarensis from AoE a lot back in the day, and after playing Retold, he still holds up as a character. Maybe not the voice acting.
They rush in red and purple, from the red clouds of the morn, from the temples where the yellow gods shut up their eyes in scorn. I will warn you this once.
Despite Arcantos being a Greek Chad and screwing up Gargarensis' plans almost at every step, he still is a great mythological foe and plays to all the great tropes of Greek mythology. Number 83, the arm or the core in Total Annihilation.
What began as a conflict over the transfer of consciousness from flesh to machines escalated into a war which has decimated 1 million worlds. The core and the arm have all but exhausted the resources of a galaxy in their struggle for domination.
Now, it depends on what heap of metal you transferred your consciousness into, but the villain of the story of Total Annihilation is either the core or the arm. I believe the campaign are the same, it's just reversed on who is attacking who and who gets, like, the thing, but tell me if I'm wrong on that. Either way, both of them are armies of, I guess, conscious humans in robot bodies. So like Ghost in a Shell, but really like Grand War shit. I view both of these factions as villains because not only do they throw away their humanity for domination, what's left? I mean, the final world you fight on, is it just like a metal ball? Like, what's the point? They've destroyed all the good planet. Anyways, number 82, Arcturus Mengsk.
You don't seem to realize my situation here. I will not be stopped. Not by you, or the Confederates, or the Protoss, or anyone. I will rule this sector, or see it burnt to ashes around me.
Mengsk is from the StarCraft universe, and is one of my favorite villains of all time. Not only does he sacrifice his soldiers and his #1 assassin, Kerrigan, which bites him in the butt a little bit later, Mengsk is not just the evil emperor. He was a terrorist in the Sons of Korhal, and kind of took over the Confederacy, or I guess blew them up, or you know what I mean. Mengsk wasn't born into the Dominion power. He created it, and with a lot of really messed up methods, especially just damning Terran worlds to the Zerg. Number 81, the aliens in XCOM. X-rays, dubbed by the soldiers that encounter them, are a highly advanced alien race that want to subjugate every human on Earth. Not only do these aliens have a ton of species or versions of themselves, but they somehow have gained the reflexes of Neo from the Matrix. You can be a step away with a shotgun and still miss. If that's not devilish and villainous, I don't know what is.
Damn it, enemy is still alive.
Number 80, Nemesis. Resident Evil. Now, this won't be the last gigantic virally infected umbrella and what have you in our list. Just like how we were talking with Jack Baker from RE7, Nemesis is a almost unstoppable force that will be going after player throughout the game. I don't know, something about running away and not really being able to fight off Nemesis made me feel uncomfortable.
What the fuck?
It's back!
8. Yuri, Command and Conquer. Yuri is one of the most iconic villains for me. Even though he is high up on the list, I still respect Yuri and love him with all my heart. In no way was I influenced by Yuri's powers. Yuri is a great villain because you can see his descent into madness and ambition. The actor does an amazing job portraying Yuri throughout the mission cinematics, and even though he comes to a kind of horrific end, it's an amazing character.
Only complete faith in Yuri can protect you. Only total compliance will save the lives of you and your family.
Number 78 to 60 are all 18 Cazadors in Fallout New Vegas before you get to the strip with good weapons. Number 59, The Wild Hunt. Witcher. The Wild Hunt can be considered a intergalactic or interuniversal slave trade. When they finally smell or sense Ciri, and she is Elder Blood, they go hog wild for it.
Who taught you to fight like this?
The Witcher you slew.
I always loved their design, and when Geralt has trouble fighting them off, you know they are powerful. Number 58, Wallace Breen, Half-Life 2.
Welcome to City 17. You have chosen, or been chosen, to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers.
Now, if you've played Half-Life 2 before, you know Breen is a frickin' chode. Not only does he sell out Earth within the time period you can fly from New York to LA, he has the audacity to doubt Gordon Freeman's ability to get things done. I mean, the second I see Gordon just teleporting into my office and then teleporting out, I'm with the rebellion.
I'm all but certain it was Gordon Freeman.
Dr. Breen is a great villain because he's a pawn to the Combine. Even though he tries to show off his power to humanity, it's sort of like a false facade, even though he does have some power. And a common trope within this list is the bigger the villain, the harder they fall, and I absolutely love the way Gordon deals with Dr. Breen at the end.
You don't know what you'll unleash. You could bring down this whole citadel. Think, man. Think of the people below.
Number 57, Hell, the Doom series. Now I know, Hell is a concept, but seriously, we've been fighting the forces of Hell for a very long time. But what else can I say about literal Hell? It's just Hell. Number 56, Alma, Fear. Man, I forgot about this series for a while, and it's a shame we haven't gotten anything from it, because, oh man, it so slaps. Alma, or Alma Wade, is a psychic demon child that likes to murder people and scare me in long hallways. I kid, because she does have a pretty good justification for it. Alma was experimented on because she already had powers from an early age. They just were like emo powers or something, because she could only sense the dread or negativity from others. Obviously, the lab coats didn't have anything good in mind for Alma, so she set fire to the facility only to be locked in a vault and put into induced coma. Jesus Christ, it's like Akira. Number 55, anyone that unfairly kills me in deadlock. Number 54, Death, Vampire Survivors. Death from Vampire Survivors is a great villain because sometimes you have to agree with villains. After 30 plus minutes of seeing colors just bombarding my screen, it's kind of a nice release when Death comes and just shoop, kills me. Number 53, the Balloons from Balloons Tower Defense. I love TDs. Kingdom Rush is one of my favorite franchises, I think, ever. Yet, there's something about TD Balloons that just doesn't hit for me. Whenever I try to play the Balloons games, I don't know, I don't understand. What's this balloon? What's that balloon? There's no difference. They're all balloons. They're just different colors. Number 52, Spiders, Grounded. This is a very specific one because I hate spiders, especially when I'm shrunk to the size of a raisin. Obsidian did an amazingly horrifying job making spiders act like their real-world counterpart. I truly despise getting caught in their webs and rejoiced when I farmed them for their materials. Number 51, The Dark Brotherhood, Elder Scrolls. The Dark Brotherhood is an occult order in the Elder Scrolls series devoted to the murder and all things Night Mother. Yeah, it's a mummy. Get it? Night Mother? Mummy? I'll see myself out.
Poor Cicero, dear Cicero, such a humble servant, but he will never hear my voice, for he is not the listener.
The Dark Brotherhood is a great villainous organization that deserves recognition. At least I think about how hard the logistics would be for maintaining a semblance of business practices while also being spread throughout the whole Tamriel. Number 50, and thank God for the power of editing and taking breaks. Number 50 is Cthulhu, because if we didn't have him on this list, I'd be receiving contorted fishes inexplicably getting flung at my window and hearing odd music from my record player that I didn't buy. I'm glad that there have been so many games influenced by his demonic undertakings. Some good and some, well, I don't like to talk about that game. Number 49, Voss, Far Cry 3.
It's okay, man. I'm gonna chill in, man. I'm gonna chill. The thing is, alright? The thing is I killed you once already. And it's not like I am fucking crazy. It's okay. It's like water under the bridge.
Far Cry 3 came out at a very important part of my gaming career. After enjoying Far Cry 2 for its world but not so much the story, I was immediately impressed by how the game introduced their characters, and how they incorporated Voss into the cutscenes, continuing the narrative and shedding light on who this guy was. Number 48, the hairpin turn in every F1 game.
No, it's not. I didn't think Ollie was going to get past.
I mean, we're working together.
What?
Oh my god.
Are you kidding me?
Not only is the course one of the most historic races on the F1 calendar, it's one of the most boring as well, at least in my opinion. It's a processional. Number 47, Eve, Parasite Eve. This is one game that I would love a remaster for. Seriously, it's a great concept. Number 46, The Flood, Halo.
Silence fills the empty grave now that I have gone.
The Flood are parasites that, left unchecked, will destroy the universe. Not only do they give me the heebie-jeebies, but they have some more galactic plans.
Your prophets have promised you freedom from a doomed existence. But you will find no salvation on this ring.
Number 45, The Overmind, StarCraft.
Awaken, my child, and embrace the glory that is your birthright. Know that I am the Overmind, the eternal will of the Swarm, and that you have been created to serve me.
Now, this one's a bit complicated, since if you've watched my lore videos on StarCraft, the Overmind is not necessarily a villain. He's more corrupted by another god, and given a sworn or a directive that he cannot, well, he sort of can't go over. The reason why I think the Overmind is a villain is not because of the backstory, it's what he instills in humans. This is a sentient super being that has control and designates control to other generals, but everything is connected to him. Also, the design of the Overmind, the eye itself was like some mix of like Sauron from Lord of the Rings and The Thing, two of my favorite movies. It's just a shame what they did to the Overmind in Brood War.
The Overmind itself, an enormous living brain-like entity, dictates control over all the Myriad Zerg forces, and it was believed to be planning an invasion of the Earth itself.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Number 44, Saren, Mass Effect.
You've seen the vision from the beacons, Shepard. You of all people should understand what the Reapers are capable of. They cannot be stopped. Do not mire yourself in pointless revolt. Do not sacrifice everything for the sake of petty freedoms. The Protheans tried to fight, and they were utterly destroyed.
The original Mass Effect game had its flaws and quirks, but what BioWare game doesn't? Mass Effect's sci-fi setting and grand plot lent itself to a great villain, and Saren is exactly that. Even though he's being manipulated by the Reapers, Saren himself can be reasoned with, and will end his own life, which is a hugely powerful act in the story, regardless of him being revived as the last boss. I think there's a lot to Saren, and I really resonated when playing Mass Effect back in the day with him. Not that I agreed with him, but I enjoyed the character. Number 43, General Ram, Gears of War.
I am pleased with our progress. I understand they have located another squad. Our strategy remains the same. Cut off the head of the snake, and the body dies. We will win this war. It's only a matter of time.
Yo, this guy scared the living you-know-what out of me as a kid. I don't even think I beat this boss fight because of how intimidated I was of him from the rest of the game. It's kind of wild how much lore there is on this guy too. It makes me want to replay Gears. Number 42 to 30 is every single Metal Gear Solid villain that you see up here. I don't know how they do it. Number 29, Ganondorf, the Zelda series. What could I possibly say about Ganondorf that you don't know already? Ganon is a demon king and is heavily featured in most of the Zelda games. Obviously, Ganon is powerful, and you can see that with his shape-shifting throughout the games, and when Link defeats him, he gets back up. Also, Ganon just as a figure, as a person, is iconic, and I cannot believe he debuted more than 30 years ago?
I'm too old for this shit.
Number 28. Arthas, or the Lich King.
What is this? What are you doing, my son?
Succeeding you, father.
Now we're getting into the real nitty-gritty of villains, because Arthas is one of the worst people, I think, in games. I mean, not only does he betray the human race, not only does he betray his paladin head, or whatever they're called, Uther, he literally knows he's doing bad. He knows he is getting corrupted, and he still chooses to do it anyway. And that's messed up. But in the back of my heart, I do love Arthas because you get to see his story unfold from Warcraft 3 onward. And I don't think this is a common thing for most games where you get to change the genre of game and see that progression with a character, especially a villain, is by far one of the coolest experiences in my video game career. You get to see Arthas ascend to the throne, descend into madness, and then get to run away from him during a raid. You get to kill him at the end.
Father, is it over?
At long last. No king rules forever, my son.
And another worthy candidate is number 27, Bowser, Mario. How can you not love Bowser as a villain? Whether you fought Bowser back in the 90s in his castle or found him in the joys of the Mushroom Kingdom in modernity, Bowser is a classic all-around iconic design and a perfect villain. Not only does Bowser command a huge army, but he has a ton of real estate, so you know he's doing well. Coming in at number 26, Necromorphs, Dead Space. Now I know it's the beacon or the tower, but like, yeah, that's the overarching villain. Let's think about the villain of like the non-stop dreaded takeover of symbiotic life.
Oh, wait, do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah, man. Take it easy. Daniel, get the building.
There's something in here with us.
Up there! Oh, God! Ken! No! Daniel, get the door open! Get out of there! Hands on the door!
Necromorphs come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, and you get the deal. And they want nothing more to do than to slice up Isaac and eat him as a hibachi dinner. There is something about the sheer rampant brutality of Necromorphs that I just feel like fits right here. Number 25, the Reapers, Mass Effect.
There is a realm of existence so far beyond your own, you cannot even imagine it. I am beyond your comprehension. I am sovereign. Your extinction is inevitable. We are the end of everything. Confidence born of ignorance. The cycle cannot be broken. The pattern has repeated itself more times than you can fathom. We impose order on the chaos of organic evolution. You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it. Your words are as empty as your future. I am the vanguard of your destruction. This exchange is over.
The Reapers are one of the coolest sci-fi villains of all time. They are an advanced organic machine race of beings that resides in dark space. Literally nothing there. But they are there for a reason, and a most nefarious reason at that. Yeah, it turns out the Reapers made the Citadel where everyone likes to hang out. They also made the mass relay that everyone likes to use. All so that civilization could prosper and flourish. Sounds lovely, you say. Sorry, bud, you're chopped liver to them. Reaper's literal MO is to stay dormant for 50,000 years or so organic life can produce up to the point where the Reapers can harvest every last drop, sort of like a purge. If this doesn't fill you with existential dread, I don't know what will. Maybe number 24, Andrew Ryan, BioShock.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture.
Andrew Ryan had a lot of ideas and influences before he made Rapture, and by God did they influence him. Andrew Ryan is one of those villains that set the table with genetic gunpowder and wanton matches strewn around. Andrew's disgust for the world's governments or systems led him to the notion of quote-unquote freedom or true human pursuit, which if you've ever been in a room with 10 college guys getting drunk out of their mind playing Stack Up, I wouldn't want them to run a key industry because that's what they chose. Anyways, Ryan creates a horrifying failed society where you meet many people he harbored that have gone quite insane. Genetic upgrades be damned.
What can I do with this one, Aphrodite? She won't stay still!
Number 23, Shodan, System Shock.
I am Shodan. My analysis of historical data suggests a 97.34% probability that you are aware of my birth on your planet.
Funnily enough, Shodan comes after Andrew Ryan. BioShock being the spiritual successor to System Shock 2. Shodan is a super AI that has a distaste for humans in general.
The Polito form is dead, insect. Are you afraid?
In the first System Shock game, you're trying to survive her traps, psychological bombardment, and a ton of other weird things she has going your way. That doesn't end in System Shock 2, and the feeling you have knowing you're stuck on the ship in space with this insane AI, and amongst other things, is one of the most jarring experiences in my gaming history. Number 22, Handsome Jack, Borderlands. Now, not to get him mixed up with Jack Baker, because I know that guy's handsome too. Right, ladies?
I told you, don't you fuck with me.
I'll say it again. Stop bringing in fake sirens. Only 6 sirens can exist in the universe at any given time, and I already know of 3. You're not gonna convince me you happen to find one of the remaining 3 just by drawing blue tattoos on some random chick's corpse. Well, I will admit it was mildly amusing the first dozen times you idiots tried it, but now my office smells like blood and marker fumes.
Handsome Jack is one of my favorite villains in video games because of how damn charismatic he is, and the voice actor does a insanely good job. I mean, like, literally one of the best. Is this Troy Baker? I didn't even look this up. Why didn't I look this up? This is all, I do this organically.
It's fiction. We made it up.
Almost every single line Handsome Jack has is well written, well executed, and is there for a reason. I mean, Handsome Jack is a villain in the universe, and it feels like he just is that, right? There's no setup or anything. It's just Handsome Jack's a freaking asshole.
Kill.
And it works. Number 21 through 11 is every major game studio that bought out smaller IPs or studios, then fired everyone from their job and never used the IP again. Yeah, let's have a moment of remembrance for them. Okay. Number 10, Albert Wesker, Resident Evil.
The right to be a god. That right is now mine. Only one truly capable of being a god deserves that right.
Wesker is one of the ultimate villains in gaming for so many reasons. The biggest one for me is his betrayal of stars in RE1. Plus his death scene is pretty badass. Double RPG? Let's go.
Ready, partner?
Locked and loaded.
Suck on this, Wesker.
The time's up, you son of a bitch.
Did you have to audition for the studio?
Of course, yeah.
What did you audition with?
This isn't over, Chris.
Number 9, The Master, Fallout.
So what shall it be? Do you join the Unity, or do you die here?
Join.
Die!
Join.
Die!
If you have not experienced the Master in Fallout, I want to give you fair warning that this monstrosity is appalling, and yet you can't take away your eyes from it. The Master is one of Fallout's most powerful villains by creating a cult to fuel its ambitions for domination, and creating an army of super mutants by kidnapping unsuspecting people. But as we know, the scarier they are, the harder they fall. If the player does their due diligence and grabs the information on the FEV virus, you can persuade the Master to read the information given, and oh boy, it's not good for him.
But it cannot be. This would mean that
All my work
has been for nothing. Everything that I've tried to a failure. It can't be.
Number 8, The Prophet of Truth, Halo. I'm glad humans aren't the only race with a manipulative and fanatical tyrant. Prophet of Truth is a de facto leader of the Covenant during the war. Obviously, campaigning on universal genocide is not the best thing, but what truly makes him a villain is his hypocrisy.
I will have my revenge on a prophet, on a plague. My feet tread the path. I shall become a god. You will be food, nothing more. No!
Truth knows what he says or lies, or bending of the truth when it comes to the Forerunners and Halo rings, using faith to control others. And again, I'm starting to see a pattern here. The bigger they come, the harder they fall. Number 7. A crew member. Mouthwashing. Holy psychological mishap, Batman. This one's a doozy. If you have not played mouthwashing, please skip this one because you should experience this game for yourself, especially if you're a fan of horror. So, big spoiler coming. Mouthwashing is a horror game that has 4 crew members stranded after the ship crashes into an asteroid for an unknown reason. The narrator changes throughout the game, and it's one of the best directed horror games I've ever experienced. One of the characters you play as is Jimmy, the co-pilot. As the game progresses, you start to realize what Jimmy has done to one of the women on the ship before the crash, and how mentally unhinged he is, and that's an understatement. You see or are the descent into the madness for Jimmy, and trust me, this dude really is fucked up. Number 6. Diablo. Diablo.
Take one last look at your shining heaven, Imperious. For soon, nothing of it shall remain.
What can I say about the Lord of Terror? He's fierce, he's rambunctious, and he has an insatiable appetite to take over humanity. I get it, Diablo got stuck in a soulstone and was banned, sure, but this primeval is nothing to scoff at. Diablo has been behind the scenes causing havoc and destruction wherever his essence goes. For villains, I think the whole eternal damnation and primeval seals the proverbial layer of hell for Diablo in this one. Number 5. GLaDOS. Portal.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here, huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction.
GLaDOS is one of the best villains ever to be conceived. Not only was her voice so iconic that companies leased it from Valve for their projects, the game featuring GLaDOS, Portal, was one of the most innovative titles to come out at the time. She is a supercomputer that can have some moments.
Do you know who else murders people who are only trying to help them? Did you guess sharks? Because that's wrong. The correct answer is nobody. Nobody but you is that pointlessly cruel.
Her witty writing and love of testing has supplanted her in so many hearts, even if she tries to kill you each time. Number 4. Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, Dark Souls.
Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. With the strength of lords, they challenge the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone spears.
Gwyn is one of the founders of the Age of Fire, and arguably the strongest of the founders. Now, I understand when you create something you want to protect it and see it through, but when we're talking about worlds, something protecting fire can lead to some unforeseen consequences. The thing that makes Gwyn a villain to me is that he refuses to let the fire die, even if it eventually does. Gwyn is holding on to the dying embers of a dying world, and will kill for it. Not letting go and forcing a stoppage to the natural cycle creates dire conditions for the people he ruled, that being the curse, and corrupts the witches of Izalith and daughters, in addition to a ton of other things that we can go on for ages about. Gwyn also has a strong soul, so even when he's defeated in Dark Souls 1, the soul remains alive long enough for the old Iron King to fuse with it years and years later. And then in Dark Souls 3, the soul is part of the Lord of Cinder. Number 3, the Vizier, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time.
The sand, why does it glow? I can tell you. Inside the hourglass is a marvel that no living man has seen.
Obviously, the last 3 games are going to be hugely subjective, and I would argue that the whole list is that way. Number 3 is the Vizier because no one did 10th century coups d'etats like he did. Sands of Time is one of my favorite games growing up and taught me to trust my gut about evil advisors. The Vizier unleashes the Sands of Time into the palace and all hell breaks loose. Not only are people getting transformed into monsters, but our prince needs some growing up to do. For me, the Vizier fits all the villainous nostalgia of an adventure game perfectly, even though the actual ending of the game is... what?
Do you have any last words you wish me to communicate to the princess before I kill her? Words of love, perhaps?
Number 2, Darth Malik, Knights of the Old Republic.
The search for Bastila is taking too long. We cannot risk her escaping Taris. Destroy the entire planet.
The entire planet, Lord Malik. But there are billions of people on Taris. We'd be slaughtering countless innocent civilians, not to mention our own men still on the surface.
Your predecessor once made the mistake of questioning my orders, Admiral. Surely you are not so foolish as to make the same mistake.
Oh man, nothing gave me more chills than hearing Malik's voice every scene he is in. Once a Jedi Knight and a loyal apprentice of Revan's, Malik took the temptations of the dark side during the Mandalorian Wars and, he betrays his master. Must be a pattern even after 9,000 years. Not only that, but as a player, you have a very special relationship to Malik. And even if this game is 25 years old or more, I don't even want to say more. It's just so good. I truly hope we get a remaster. Anyways, Malik is not just some random evil Sith. This dude experimented on Jedi captives, trying to mind control them and use force over intelligence, setting him apart from his betrayed master.
Could I return to the light as you did? If you had not led me down the dark path in the first place, what destiny would I have found?
And finally, holy God, I think I need to give my writer and editor a break.
Good job. Thank you so much.
Pretty good.
But we're here. Number 1. The number 1 villain in video games is, drumroll please, Nazis. Any game with Nazis.
All I'm saying is I wasn't scared. Even when those 20 or so krauts came charging across the field, I wasn't really counting. Well, except the number of those bastards I dropped.
Seriously, fuck Nazis. These pieces of ideological filth are the best punching bags, bullet tenderizers, and villains in games still. Whether you're storming the beaches of Normandy in Call of Duty, sniping Hitler's only testicle in Sniper Elite 2, or punching them around the world as Indiana Jones, Nazis deserve it. Nazis encapsulate the genocidal ramblings of the Prophet of Truth, the experiments on others like Malik, and holding onto an idea that's dead like Gwyn. Nazis encompass everything villains are. I've been maiming, mutilating, and killing Nazis for the past 28 years of my gaming career, and there is no stopping.
I will never kneel to you. Fine. I will gut you standing.
And holy moly, we're going to stop because if you're still here, I appreciate you. I'd really love to hear what your thoughts were on my list and what your opinions are for yours. I mean, what were your top 10 villains? What did you agree with? What did you not agree with? Please let me know in a constructive way. I truly appreciate you taking the time, and as always, see you next time.
Let's go. Do you read?
Am I clear to fire?
You're clear.